Should be good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Wednesday night edition of the Win Daily Sports NFL Draftcast. You got me sitting in the lead seat to start things off tonight, Dave Gleckner, Jason Mizrahi, and then we got a special guest that we'll introduce in a second. No Tony tonight makes us sad, but that's okay. I want to say, audience, if you're tuning in, you're watching, we're going to open up a team for you. We'd love you guys to chime in and see if you can, beat us. So we'll see how that goes, but like the NFL Draftcast every Wednesday here, we're going to go through the slate, which is a big one this week as they minimize or as they maximize the slate. So we'll get into all that, but let me pass it over to Jason.
So, we got a big guest coming through today. Obviously, we try to bring the best of the fantasy industry in every week. Dave forgot to mention, I'm actually coming off my first victory this week, so I'm super excited. And sorry, Dave, and sorry, Tony, and everybody else out there in Philly after the Phillies lost. But we got a very special guest. We got Bob Harris, serves as the senior editor over at Football Diehards, Fantasy Hall of Famer, SiriusXM fantasy host. Bob, welcome to the show, man. You got some big shoes to fill. I was going to let you know they're big shoes because Mike Dempsey, your partner in crime, came in and beat us down a couple weeks back. So, we're excited to kind of – yeah, man. I'm sure he passed over some good notes to you this week. So,
all I know is he told me I was sloppy seconds, so I'm ready for that.
Yeah, so Bob, let's get right into this, man. We had a couple of wild weeks in the NFL. The Jets beat the Eagles, which I was shocked by. The Browns and P.J. Walker beat the Niners. The Pats and Mac Jones somehow beat the Bills. And then Kirk Cousins wins in primetime versus the 49ers again. Now, do you think this is more of a product of there being no, truly dominant teams, or is the NFL, something wonky going on right now? What's going on in the NFL right now? Why does this keep happening?
This is from the NFL's perspective, this is a feature, not a bug. This is the desired outcome. This is what they want. Look, it starts with the design of the football. It's an oblong spheroid. It bounces funny ways. It makes things tricky and dicey to begin with. And then you add to that the design to make teams as equal as possible. I think this is where they want it to be. This week-to-week volatility is the desired outcome. So for us as fantasy managers, it puts a tremendous strain. And it also puts a premium on volume, right? Like volume is the wellspring of fantasy production. You have to have it to have production. Having it, according to Rashad White, does not always guarantee production, or Joe Mixon, or many, many players. But without it, you have nothing, and you're taking your chances. And that's not to say, guys, you're taking chances on. We're going to take some chances on guys tonight, and with the hope of tremendous outcomes. But, man, the best decisions don't always lead to the best outcomes in football because it's a damn crazy game, and they've designed it to be as volatile as possible. They love it when it's like this, they being the NFL. There is a really large building on Park Avenue. It's got 2 floors of people, and the rest is full of money. And all the money comes from the fact that they do this crazy stuff that draws us all in. So good luck to all of us. And it's been, I think they've been, they've been building on this for a little while, right? And I think this year it feels like the culmination of all their efforts to make it as crazy as possible is paying off. I think that's only because we're living in the moment. I think when we look back on it, it's only as crazy as it usually is. But, man, it seems off the charts right now.
Yeah, definitely off the charts. Now, I know you and the guys at Football Diehards are truly season-long experts at the highest of levels. So I got to ask you the question, if you can just pick one league setting forever and for everybody, what would be the size of the league? What would be the proper setups? Are you using kickers, defenses, IDPs? And, what other wonky rules or systems you think should be everybody's league setting?
So, I guess, more and more we're trying to, I think Superflex is becoming, more of an accepted norm. And I think it's true. I think I agree with Marcus Grant, our friend over at NFL Network, who kind of says we're not really creating, if the goal is to make, quarterbacks more comparable to their importance on the NFL field, we're doing that by, adding another quarterback. I think we're just creating scarcity. We're not really making it commensurate. So ideally, we would change the scoring for the quarterbacks to put their importance of a one quarterback up to the level that it is in the NFL. And it would take some crazy jack. It would be like Scott Fishbowl scoring for quarterbacks and everyone else getting penalized for every damn thing. So it would be tough. But for me, in an ideal world, I like to play like Superflex Dynasty would be great. IDP included would be even better. I think that, I don't need a kicker if we're playing full IDP, right? I can live without that. A little too much variance there for my liking. But also, like on the offensive side of the ball, I'm okay with like a lot of flexes, more flexes, because of the way the league is heading with running backs, or the split backfields is making it a little more difficult. So the value we used to place on running backs, we're placing more on the receivers and the tight ends. So even if you don't go to tight end premium scoring, I think just opening up the offensive side of the ball to more players, more flexes would be ideal. Like, and by more, I mean every damn spot on offense could be a flex, and I'd be very happy with it.
I like the sound of that. I even like the sound of maybe like additional roster spots for more flexes. So
Sure.
like I have this great roster that I built out completely, and I feel like a lot of my guys are just sitting on the bench scoring points when other people aren't actively building a full team. And yeah, from week to week, one guy jumps in and replaces on a bye week, but you're only managing a very tight roster. And I got guys that I think are good enough to start in my teams.
Yeah, or one of the joys to me of fantasy football is making speculative plays on talent that isn't going to pay off right away, right? Like that, and you're going to have to wait on it, having that room on your roster open. So like even within season long, I mean, there are players that I'm keen on that I know aren't going to be available right away. I don't have to fight on the waiver wires for the paid players I identify being great when they become great. I want them to be on my roster before they come great. So the greatness only benefits me, Bob Harris, because that's how I am, greedy.
I like the sound of that. So Bob, I know you've been, moving around, you spent some time in a couple of different places. You mentioned to me earlier. Now, what team do you pledge your allegiance to? And do you have any kind of rituals? Like, you have to watch the game at home, certain things. How do you consume the NFL?
0 teams. I hate them all equally. That's my stock
Nice.
answer. I don't like any of them. If you ask me, if there was one that stood out any given time, it would be the simplest one. It's because I cover the teams, all 32 of them. So if you ask a dishwasher what his favorite plate is, it's the cleanest one, right? So it's kind of a similar situation. The ritual is we do the pregame show, Jeff Mans and I, on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And like work is pretty much nonstop. Like you guys know how the grind is. So we're going nonstop pretty much around the clock. My feet hit the floor at 6 a.m. I'm up until 2. And, except on Sunday when the games start, I head for the couch. I crank up the red zone and kick back and put my feet up and enjoy and sit there with my tournament lottery tickets. I mean, that's to me the best fun is all my tournament lineups sitting in front of me on a screen and kind of watching myself fail miserably at that while I watch a bunch of games.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. No more allegiances. It's just the teams, the players, the guys I have money on. That's who I'm really stressed out about. I don't get mad at any one player or any one team. Looking at tomorrow, we got a little game in Buffalo. Buffalo, super shaky, but they get the benefits of going against Baker Mayfield, which should be a W on their board. Buffalo's favored by 8.5. Do Baker and the boys hold a chance to pull the upset? We've seen some wonky things the past couple of weeks. Do you think the Bills cover? What's your first impression on this game?
I do think the Bills are going to cover, but I think that most every week, and often I'm disappointed. But coming off a less than expected performance, I think last week, I think they're going to come out like a hornet's nest and go nuts. I do think the Buccaneers red zone defense has been pretty good. And so that's a little of a concern because, Buffalo at times, they get off the bad starts or whatever, but they are really good in the red zone in general. I think they're scoring 71% of the time. So it's kind of a strength on strength situation. And I think in that case, I'm going to give the tie to the offense and go Buffalo there.
Yeah, I think Buffalo hangs in there, bounces back. But they also almost lost to the Giants,
right?
Which was they should have lost to the Giants. I really thought they were going to lose that game, which was shocking. Tyrod not getting much respect now. Bob, before we get into this draft, I've been asking everybody, and we actually heard some people say the Bills going to win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl. If you had to predict 2 teams right now, AFC, NFC, who gets there, who takes it down when it's all said and done.
It's a repeat of last year. And when that happens, I'm going to listen to all your betting advice because you are deadlocked money.
Eagles win this time, or what happens
Probably,
here?
I think that would be that. As I sit here now, yes, that like you're just playing the odds, right? Like, so yeah. Until as we get closer and we see what kind of things are developing, then maybe I'll be a little bit different. But like Patrick Mahomes hasn't been quite as dialed in, and like it's a relative thing, right? If Patrick Mahomes slightly less dialed in is still better than 97% of everybody else. So, but Jalen Hurts also is, there have been some disappointments in weeks. So I'm interested to see how it plays out the rest of the season. But I guess in the end I would go with the defense, and for me that's the Eagles right now.
Yeah, Eagles would do. Teams look pretty damn good as of late. AJ Brown stepping up too. He's been doing well. Let's get into this
draft. But just quickly, I mean,
yes.
They're still making aggressive moves. They may not be done making moves, right? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did something else. But that to me is part of it. Is they're all in.
Kind of agree to that, Bob. I'm gonna let Dave take over now. Kind of give us a rundown of what happened last week, what went well, what we're looking forward to this week, and then we'll get that draft board up. Listeners, right now, if there's enough listeners out there, please comment right now. If you want to draft a team, we'll allow you to kind of draft a team with us because Tony's out. So we'd like to draft 4 teams. So if anybody's out there, Jimmy, if you're out there, anybody's out there listening right now and you want to draft a team, post in the comments that you want to help out. If so, we'll get the draft board up with 4 people. If not, me, Dave, and Bob will fight it out, 3-man to try to take it down.
Love it, Jay. So let me say, Bob, there's been a lot of 49ers week in and week out. I think the straw finally broke that camel's back the other night. Brock Purdy is not, MVP caliber. I was just like ripping my hair out when I get that he was good enough to game manage, but they're going to have to do some different things going forward here. It's a long season. But yeah, the Kevin Byard edition is huge. I mean, a 5th, 6th rounder and the safety the Eagles weren't going to use. They were using, but they didn't want to use in Terrell Edmonds. So I like your picks. And Jimmy did check in. He was out in Indianapolis last week. I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of games, going a lot of places. I've seen Pacers games in Indianapolis. Never a Colts game. So that's good to know that it's a must see.
I think the big move I'm watching for is if, now that they've thrown up the flag, right? Like Tennessee, the for sale sign is up. Who comes and chases down the king? Who gets Derrick Henry?
I agree.
And Baltimore, I was talking to Joe Pisapia from Fantasy Pros earlier. I think we both kind of agree. Baltimore seems like it'd be an ideal destination. Buffalo is another one that seems, like maybe an outside possibility. They need to make some kind of move. But I think Baltimore could really benefit from having a real running back instead of a bunch of guys that I can't choose between.
Well, and Bob, what's interesting, and let me get your take on this real fast before you jump in. Kirk Cousins winning the other night probably took him off the market. Now,
I think so.
Yeah, no, he
maybe in the future too.
Yeah, he might not have gone anyway. He was like kind of reluctant. He's kind of like setting his ways up there, but I think he's definitely off. The Vikings can, that look. The Lions looked ugly the other night. It's not over. So interesting stuff. We'll get into this draft cast. Can't wait to get going. Yes, I have to recap and sit here and say, Jason took it down last week. He gets his first win of the season.
Finally.
7 weeks in, and I will, admittedly, I'm very proud. You had, it wasn't just a few picks. You had a well-oiled machine last week. I was a little nervous when you were going high end, but you were able to fit it in. And Lamar Jackson, that was the key to the week. The highest scoring quarterback on the board at 37. Well, yes, 37.88, outscored Mahomes by 0.02.
Yeah, so I was worried about Mahomes when he came through, but I knew I had Zay and Mark Andrews as well. So that stack really paid off well. That was probably what carried me. I don't remember all my team, but I remember I had those 3 guys as a nice little base. Yeah, you held me off by a few points, and it was really the Josh Palmer late because I had Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler, and he outscored both combined. So, and you beat me by 10. So good week. I got to give you credit where credit's due. And now you know the rules. Bob, we talked about earlier. We're going to go around here and let Jason pick his position in the draft first because I was second. I'll go second. And then, Bob, you're going to go third. And then in the audience, we'll let them pick with the last spot. So, Jay, what are you thinking before I bring up the board? Let me see, man.
This
I
is a
don't
full
want to.
week, by the way. No buys.
Yeah,
13
no
games.
buys.
Yeah.
You got a big slate here. Let me look right now. Is there a guy that I really, 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 really want? I don't think there is. I think it's a pretty balanced slate. So I'm not going to go 1. Let's go 3. Let's switch it up. Let's go 3. I don't like the wheel, so I'll go 3 right now.
All right, I like it. You know what? I'm gonna stay kind of positioned with you in the middle and not be on both sides. So I'll go 2, and I'll leave Bob. You got to pick 1 or 4.
I think I'll go 4.
I like it.
Okay. So we got our listeners here. You guys are going to go 1. So we're going to let you guys give a shot here. I see Jimmy in the chat, Yvonne in the chat. So if you guys can follow along and hang out for the next, half an hour, 40 minutes, we'll keep this train going. If not, we can always help you out. We can help, build with you. But for right now, let's see what we got going here. Hold on here. What's going on here? Dave, you got this or no?
I had
you
it.
do it. Yeah, my bad. Go for it.
I'm done now.
No, you go. You go.
I don't know what you just did.
All right, go now.
Go ahead. Put the overlay up.
All right.
Yes. There we go.
So, listeners, who do you guys want? Jimmy, you there? Yvonne, you there? If not, we'll draft you guys like the worst player in the draft. In 10, 9. Dave, what do you think we should do here? All right, Jimmy puts up Brown or Kelsey.
Give him AJ Brown.
Go for it, AJ Brown off the board
against the Commanders. I think it's just a smash play this week. We've seen what he's been doing. I like the pick.
No, I think it's a good pick, man. It's definitely a good way to start the draft here. So
5 straight games over 125 yards receiving. I think it's like the first time in Eagles history, but like only the 3rd time in NFL receiving.
I think it's it's a very short list.
Yeah,
and he's making tough catches. Like every single catch of his is like contested. It's tight windows. He's fighting for balls. Guy's really. I thought Devontae's going to have like a bigger leap this year, and it happened for like a game, and then it just fell off, and it's all been AJ Brown. But we'll see what happens moving forward with this team.
I agree. So with me sitting here with my first pick, I will say there's a reason I jumped in front of Jay, and I appreciate this. I got to take one of his favorite guys. If he knows how to say his name or not, I don't care. I'm taking Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay. I wasn't
thought
going
he'd make
there.
It. I thought he'd make it.
It's just the volume, right? I mean, obviously he's been putting up the points, but the volume is there.
Okay.
I already regret my pick choice.
Yeah.
I do think quarterback is kind of light here. I'm gonna go with let's go Jalen Hurts. Let's switch it up a little bit. Tush push, all that kind of good stuff, man. It's funny you see Brock Purdy try doing it and Kirk Cousins try doing it.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
What do you think, Bob? What do you think the skill of it all? What is it? Is it the?
It's the legs.
Is it all Jalen Hurts? Is it the? The front?
I think it's as much.
Eagles?
I think it's the offensive line, right? They get that push, they get that drive underneath and get down low, and then does the push help? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe sometimes it does. I think for the most part, it hurts in the offensive line.
Okay.
All right, Bob. So it's up to you with the wheel route.
Man, I had a distinctive plan in mind, and you guys shot it to hell. So I'm gonna go to. I'll do this. Alvin Kamara and Breece Hall.
I like the Breece Hall play. Nice play on that one. I'll run it back.
The other was Kamara. Was it Kamara? You said
Kamara.
Yep, got it. Okay.
Yeah, this team bounced back a little bit last week. This was I feel like it was like almost everybody's darling running back they wanted to draft. Probably got burned so far this year. Not doing much. His offense is not doing much, but they're probably going to be behind in this game. I'm going to go with Ramondre and hope he gets these targets out of the backfield. 6 targets the last 2 games. He's got to find the end zone to really hit value. Going against Miami, he should be used in the passing game a bunch. I'm assuming they're going to be down. I know, Belichick will try to stop Tyreek and all that kind of good stuff, but the price at 5,400 is too good to pass up on Ramondre, and he does have some upside in this matchup.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I like that pick. I mean, he did come through last week, and you're exactly right. It was late in the game, right? Getting those scrap, catches that got them down the field to win the game for the Patriots. I like the pick. I'm trying to decide whether I stay in this zone or not, or flex back. We got Jimmy and you guys on deck. I see you're already cursing Bob's picks. So,
Well, I mean, like Kamara's, I can see why they, be cursing Kamara. I mean, 29 touches last week, 12 catches. He has 55 touches in the last 2 games, a 28% target share in 2 of the 4 games he's been in. I mean, the volume's been there, and I like the matchup on this one. I'm sure they're cursing me for that. It makes me feel good about myself.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yes.
Bobby,
yes.
do you think we see Jameis soon, or do you think Carr's going to ride out?
I think Carr is very angry. I don't know if Angry Carr is a good Carr. I don't know. It seems like I think they're going to stick with him for now. But man, there's going to be some issues on that team. I saw you had some more comments today that made it seem like he didn't really, get that the whole thing is like not a good look for him, yelling at teammates and being angry all the time. And so we'll see. I thought Michael Thomas had an interesting quote, where Carr was saying, we just need to communicate better with each other. And Michael Thomas basically said, well, some of us communicate maybe different ways than others, right? I mean, I think there is a schism growing there.
Yeah, you can't be like throwing your helmet and crying if you throw the ball 7 feet out of bounds. Like if the ball is inbounds playable and then Olave gets pulled over, that team is kind of turning bad, and they could be good in that division too.
Yeah, I thought that was the big one for me was, you're sitting there yelling at Olave for breaking off the route, and certainly he did. Also, you threw it like 20 yards out of bounds. Nobody was catching that ball, Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I love it. I hated that guy last year, how he treated the Raiders situation. He was such a whiner and a baby. And then now he thinks he's free and he was going to light it up. He lights nothing up. So I'm actually enjoying some of his theatrics. And I'm not a big Dennis Allen guy either. But with that, I am big on this receiver this week, and it's Terry McLaurin. He lights up the Eagles every time he plays them. Had 8 catches against them earlier this season, has had 2 straight games of at least 6 catches. The volume's there, and he's 5,300. Nice price. Eagles are not good this year against the pass. It's a weird thing. Like last year, they were number 2 in the league against the pass. Not this year.
Like that. So who we got going from the audience here? Jimmy, step up. Yvonne, step up. I guess Kelsey is still up there on the board. So if you guys want to go Kelsey here, you're more than welcome to. You got two picks on the clock. So if you want to go Kelsey, remind us right now. If not, give us some other plays, Jimmy or Yvonne. While they're picking, Bob, a couple other questions, man. What's your biggest pickup in season long right now? Like guys that you got late or you got early that you're really cashing in on right now?
I think like some of the receivers that we draft. I mean, like Adam Thielen has been rock solid, right? And I'll say Nico Collins as well. I mean, I probably in so many leagues they're my wide receivers 4 and 5. That it's like, and it's paying off in a big way. I think those are some of those guys. I'm trying to think of running backs that are, there are no running backs who are paying off. I miss it. Like
Breece Hall might pay off soon.
Breece Hall's definitely going to pay off. I just wasn't in on him. I just, I was skeptical, right? And so probably I have more shares of Cook because he was a cheaper piece than I do of Hall, and it breaks my heart. It makes me want to pound my fist on the table, yet I will try to restrain for now.
All right, looks like we got 2 picks from Jimmy here. He went double running backs here. Gus Edwards, who's actually been value for me. I've had J.K. Dobbins on 2 teams. I had Nick Chubb on a couple of teams. So Gus Edwards, he actually panned out last week. The week before, I think got me like 10 points. So good matchup for him, good price for him. Madison, good price. He actually looked more effective than I thought last week in a tough matchup. So this week in a plus matchup from Green Bay makes a lot of sense. Not getting all the attempts anymore, but still effective here. Now, Dave, it's back to you. What are you doing? Don't snipe my pick, please, because I'm right behind you, man.
So I'm not going to snipe your pick because I can't because you already have a quarterback. But I might as well just lock it up now with people starting to talk about Baltimore. we're gonna have to get a little creative down here. But Lamar Jackson, Arizona, anytime I can get a quarterback against them. Geno didn't shine last week, but still was a solid production day. Could have been even better against Arizona last week, but I think Lamar is going to run wild in the desert.
Yeah, I like that play, Lamar. The only thing that worries me is potential blowouts, but we don't really know blowouts anymore. Any team can beat any team on any given day. So I'm with you on that play. It was a guy that I was looking at as well. Running back is tough here, man. It really is. There's some guys in some bad matchups. So I don't know if I want to go running back yet. I might just pick somebody by default here. But give me somebody in that Baltimore game. Give me Zay Flowers. The guy's been effective pretty much all year long. Number one option outside of Mark Andrews. Andrews stepped up last week, but give me Zay. They haven't really bumped up his price yet on DraftKings. They finally bumped up Adam Thielen out of that 5K range, but they still got Zay Flowers in that 5,600 range. The guy's electric. He's going to get you double-digit points, and it's going to be a game where he breaks one of these long ones, and he'll get like 20, 25. So hopefully bad defense in Arizona. Hopefully Arizona can keep the game close a little bit, and Zay, has a big game here.
All right, I like it. That goes over to Bob. It takes away a little stack option for me. That's all right. I got some other ideas.
Mark Andrews?
I'll go ahead and do I want to do the big thing or wait to do the big thing later and do the littler things now? I'll do the littler things now. I'll do Stroud and Nico.
I will tell you, Stroud was absolutely on my radar. Good pick, especially its matchup of him versus
Young,
right?
Yeah, I love that, and also I love that Carolina's defense a little challenged by the injuries at this point in time, especially the secondary. So feeling good about that one.
Yeah, good pick.
I don't like that you're so quick with your two picks, Bob. I'm not a fan of that because
I might have given some thought about this.
Yeah, I want you to slow down your process a little bit. Just remind me, do we think Purdy is going to be out with the concussion? It's pretty much a guarantee this late in the week.
I mean, I think it's almost guaranteed that one player all year has. So first of all, Kyle Shanahan said today he thinks he can be cleared, but one player all season has been cleared the week of the concussion for the next game.
So it's our guy Sam Darnold who's going to lead the 49ers to a victory, I guess. That's a tough one here. I don't know what to do there, but let me take a shot. I don't think that's that much of a downgrade from Purdy to Darnold. Give me Brandon Ayuk. They kind of forgot about this guy, and I think if they threw the guy the ball
I love him
a little bit more last week, a couple of days ago, and I was so angry that game because I had alternate props receiving on Christian McCaffrey, and he was open like almost on every single play. And the guy's the best guy on the field. I don't know why they didn't get him the ball. As soon as they got him the ball on that one drive, it was like, oh, easy touchdown. I hit 100%. My alternate prop. I had him for 50, 60, 70, 80. He hit for 50 for like plus 300 or whatever, but I wanted to be greedy and get that 80. Didn't look to the guy ever again. And they kind of forgot about Ayuk too. He was just – I never seen somebody like force the ball to people who weren't that open. And they're kind of saying now, I saw the highlight, they're saying when he probably got that concussion on the tush push, whatever, his stats afterwards were extremely fell off. So maybe that's why some of those errant throws. But I think Ayuk's fairly priced for the matchup. Cincinnati's going to put up some points here. San Fran's got to win this game, bounce back. Ayuk fairly priced at 7K. Should have a big game.
I like it. I'm going to go actually in a little bit of the reverse. When Bob started saying cheap, I don't know if that was his cheap options, but there's one out there at receiver that caught my eye last week. 62% of the snaps, 4 catches, actually a run for 20 yards. That's DeMario Douglas out of New England. Yeah. I just really like, in that game environment, they're going to have to use some special things, I feel like, and Douglas might be one of those 3,300. I think he could be a really good value play this week.
I like that call, man. He's the guy Sticks was looking at for the past couple of weeks, but this might be the breakout week. I was on Kendrick Bourne earlier, and he had some big games, but the price is right on Douglas, man.
It really is, which goes over to the audience who is a little upset about the Stroud-Collins combo.
Sorry for that.
Yeah,
Terribly
let's see if they
sorry. I
can.
feel horrible.
Yeah, it looks it. Let's see if they can react and get back
Jimmy,
off the
you
floor.
are up, and looking forward though, Dave. Your Eagles, man, you feel good about what happened in the bounce back spot there? Are you feeling strong about this team right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, Bob said it earlier. I think he said it best. This is what the NFL is, but don't forget they're 6-1. I mean, people can say what they want, but 6-1 is pretty darn good in the NFL. Now, here's the point: after this game, it's murderers row. They're going to see the Cowboys a couple times, the Niners, the Bills. They got some real Chiefs are in there too in this 5-6 game stretch, so they got to get this one out of the way and get to 7-1 because there's going to be some really, really big games coming up. So I feel good. They always play better in Washington against this team. They struggle at home for some reason. Lost to them last year. That's the team. If you look at Hurts' record in the last two regular seasons, one loss, it was Washington. It won't happen there. I feel good this weekend. But
yeah, this weekend's going to play well, and we got Jimmy coming through with his home team bias, going with Jamar Chase and our guy Joe Burrow, who's fairly priced in the matchup. Chase, he could break out any game. Obviously, when T. Higgins is not there, he had some monster games. So good call, Jimmy on those. Back to you, Dave. What's your thoughts here?
My thoughts are he took Chase. I was gambling. I said, let me get my cheap guy out of the way. He's not going to be able to afford both those guys. I mean, maybe he will. But man, good picks. I think Chase is in for a monster week coming off the bye, like you said earlier, since he is kind of that team that needed a bye now. Even the ugly win against Seattle, this really sets them up for a good second half. So good pick. And you kind of threw me for a loop here, but that's all right. Loops are okay. Out of the running backs, it's been a tough. Bob, you said it earlier too. There's just not much in the running game anymore that really pops. But one of these guys is going to do it, and I think I'm going to take Kareem Hunt this week. And look, with Jerome Ford out, likely out.
Kareem, he's out.
Yeah,
I mean, he ain't playing.
And Seattle is a defense you can expose both in the pass and the rush game. If Hunt gets all the carries there, man. I mean, Hunt's questionable, but he'll play it. I like it.
Last three games, that Seattle defense has been. I mean, they've only given up I think a total of 30 points.
True. Yeah, they still give up a lot of yards, but you're right. They played Bengals, let up 17 last week. Cardinals, what was it, like 13? Yeah, they've been better. True. But Cleveland has to move the ball somehow. So I'll take a chance on Hunt.
Okay, I'm going to go value here. It looks like Arizona made a big mistake not trading Zach Ertz when they had the opportunity to kind of throw him out there for some trade bait. And fortunate for me, I played this guy last week.
Yeah.
Had a decent game. He hit value. 5.9 points, but he was, I think, 2,500 last week. DraftKings didn't really adjust the price much. Matchup, okay, not great by any means. Baltimore is a legit defense. But at 2,800, give me Trey McBride. I'll take 4 catches for 30 yards at 2,800. I need value because I'm going to go pay up in a couple spots, but give me McBride.
Yeah, love it. I think that, and by the way, he's so much more athletic than Zach Ertz too. He's
actually got knees. He's got knees and ankles and feet, and you kind of need those to run routes.
Yeah, and I think he runs deeper routes too. I think good pick. All right, Bob, what do you got?
Take your time, Bob. Don't be so quick on the trigger.
Well, I got to be a little quick. It's my brand, man. I do everything fast. I'll go Christian Kirk and Darren Waller. I like not eager to play against the Jets, but Waller's volume has been impressive the last 2 games. I'm hoping Tyrod Taylor remains the quarterback. I don't think he's been under 29% target share the last 3 games. He has a couple of top 10, I think 7, couple of tight end 7 finishes there. And Christian Kirk is, I love you, Calvin Ridley, but you're the wide receiver 2 in Jacksonville. Christian Kirk is the wide receiver 1. The opportunities are there. Out-targeted him noticeably since week 1. I think week 1 is the only game where Ridley is out-targeted Christian Kirk.
I'm scared about Bob's team. He's too prepared for the game here.
And it's balanced. It's balanced.
I didn't prepare at all.
Very, very balanced. But left one guy on the board for me. This guy, I didn't see this coming against San Fran. I really, really didn't. I know he was a big prospect, but big catches, thought he was hurt. Then he came back. Then he's grabbing balls. Addison to 5,700. They didn't adjust the price. Great matchup or decent matchup against Green Bay. I know you got a guy in Alexander there. But at 5,700, I don't need too much. I'm worried about the pace a little bit in Green Bay because they slow things down. But 5,700 for a wide receiver one that Kirk is force feeding the ball to, I'll take a shot at that price.
Yeah, kid special, really good pick. If I remember college, he was Pitt then USC, but always had the talent, and now he's showing it. Great pick. Listen, I've saved myself some money to pay up for someone. I was hoping it was Chase. I didn't really love the running back market this week. And there's something about Tyreek against New England. He didn't have the greatest game earlier with 15 points. I'm going to go Travis Kelce here. The audience left him out there too long. However, I can, two Chiefs against Denver. Denver, I don't know how in the world they did it last week. Held someone under 20, but that means they're probably letting up 50 this week. So I'll take Kelce.
Okay. That does work.
I thought about it.
Yeah. It isn't mind-boggling, Bob. The Chargers know they can't stop him.
Right.
But somehow he still gets 13 catches. How?
Yeah. It really is. I mean, he is the primary piece, but he just has this knack for gaining just enough separation for Mahomes, right? And Mahomes doesn't need much for him. It's like, I want to say Mark Andrews, to me, kind of fills a similar role, but Zay Flowers maybe is cutting into it. But that true, wide receiver one, I think we've seen that from Waller the last 3 weeks for sure as well, and something we expect to happen. But Travis Kelce is the prototype for this role. He's it. He's the reason why the Chiefs decided that, hey, we don't need a wide receiver one. Tyreek Hill, we're not paying you. Somebody else can pay you. We're happy to move on, and we'll have a bunch of guys. And from snap to snap, Patrick Mahomes, who we invested $500 million in, is going to determine our wide receiver one from a bunch of cheaper options. And it's going to be the guy who's open. And that's exactly how they're doing it. Now, maybe it's not as sustainable as they think, and maybe Rashee Rice can fix that over the course of time. Like he seems to be emerging a little bit. But they're fine playing whack-a-mole with their wide receiver one, letting Patrick Mahomes just pick and choose as he sees fit and just leaning heavily on Travis Kelce until that changes and Kelce gets, 20 years older? Because I think he's going to keep playing for another 20 years. I'm pretty sure. This isn't going to change.
Bob, I got a question for you. And Jimmy, you're up, so get some picks in. But Davante Adams, the Raiders, not looking like they want to be friends for much longer here. Can you see the Chiefs go out there and just pull the Joker out of the hat and just say, you know what, give me Davante Adams and let's see what really can happen? Kind of like Randy Moss.
It's a big move, but I feel like it seems like such an obvious move that it's not going to happen. I think Adams has clearly been trying to talk his way out of something for the last couple of weeks, but I don't I think that's like a big move. It doesn't seem like the kind of move the Chiefs would make. The Raiders might be open to it, but I don't think the Chiefs would do it.
Gotcha. See what happens. Looks like we're going to go with Goddard, who I do like. Good pick there, Jimmy. And the Bengals defense, which could work out. Doesn't really correlate too much, but, correlation's a tough thing to figure out. Because you got Burrow and you got Chase there. You're hoping for shootout to some extent, but at the same time, San Fran's got Sam Darnold. They do got McCaffrey still, so we'll see what happens there. So I like the picks. It works. Goddard had a big game, especially early on. But Yvonne, if you want to hop in with these picks too, more than willing to help out. Dave, back to you.
Yeah,
I know you're looking, you're diving. You need some savings, or are you going up top here?
No, I'm okay. I mean, I got about, I'm going to go get my defense out of the way now and then kind of plug and play. And the Bengals were definitely on my radar just because I'm a defense you don't have to pay up kind of guy. Like as many times as you got this guaranteed defense, you got the same low end level defense that scores. So it's an area that I definitely like to take discounts. This week, I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Kenny Pickett is, I know the look, it's all Mike Tomlin. I know they're winning games by smoke and mirrors, but Pickett's still vulnerable. I think they can get some sacks, create some turnovers at 2,800 on the road. I like the Jags. Good price here.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of shit on myself here. Season long, I didn't get too many shares of this guy, but I'm most shocked about this guy underperforming the most. You guys have a guess who it is? Running back? Dave? Bob, what do you think it is? Still on the board.
Eckler? Is he on this board, though?
He's not on the board. Bob, your guess?
Henry?
Top flight running back with a
Henry?
good line. Tony
No,
Pollard,
good
man.
line. Tony Pollard
Yeah.
was my next guess, right?
Tony Pollard's a guy that I thought was going to have like a monster season. There's no Zeke there. And if you told me through, 6 weeks of playing ball, he has 2 touchdowns and 370 yards, I'd be shocked, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's tough matchups. Like they faced the Jets, they faced San Fran, and of course they faced Arizona. But guy's got 30 yards last game, 29, 47, 2 games at 70 and 72. He had 1 game against Arizona. They put up 122, but minuscule season, hoping for a breakout here. The price has come down enough at 7,500 that you're getting some upside with them. You're going to play hopefully at a faster pace here against the Rams. Pretty decent matchup. So give me Pollard, and I'm hoping for the best here.
I like it. And I'll be honest with you, there's many weeks you can't just trust the metrics of 7 weeks of data yet. The Rams have let up some yards on the ground. I've seen it. So and they had a bye. Dallas was bye last week too. So I think that gives some. They might want to settle in and really start focusing on some of their better players. So I like it. Bob, you got 2.
I'm going to take the Texans defense.
Oh, against Bryce Young, why would you do that?
I don't know. It just seems like man, I'm like so close to being able to pull something off, and I can't pull it off. I'm going to go Drake London at wide receiver. Been nice volume. It's against Tennessee. I'm going to go with that.
Nice. Yeah, he has been better in the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, it's the volume is like I'm not like keen on banking on Desmond Ridder, but just in general, I want to say, what do we got? Like 20. I think the low I'm looking at here, 23% is the low target share over the last 4 games. It hasn't been outside double digits scoring in those games, and a touchdown would sweeten the pie. And I heard the Titans are like they're kind of tanking a little bit.
Yeah, it looks it.
Yeah, I think they're going with the young kid Levi's, right? Levi's getting the start this week. Is that confirmed yet?
It's not confirmed, but it seems like it's almost certain. But it sounds like they are open to playing both quarterbacks, which would even further screw that pooch. So start Levis and then give Willis some turns. And they may be trying to see what they have in these guys before they decide to trade Tannehill if they can move him. So a little bit going on there.
Okay, I think it's on me. I'm trying to decide between a couple players here, and I don't know who I want. Let me buy some time. I'm not sure we're going to flex out here. Give me the Atlanta Falcons against, our guy, whoever it is at the quarterback position. They're playing very slow pace. Every game is like an over-under of like 35. Slow pace, a lot of running. As long as Ridder doesn't turn the ball over 3 times, I think they can, maintain a nice 5 to 10 point range on the defensive side. Decent value at 2,900.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
There's so many ways I can go here, and I feel that this is a low ceiling, high floor kind of guy this week. He's getting the volume, but man, he averages less than 3 yards a carry. But it's going against the Panthers, and I'm just going to trust that Dameon Pierce can do something for once.
He can't. It's not possible. He's not doing it.
He's not doing it.
No.
Well, I know they have started to use.
He looked so good last year too. Like he looked amazing coming out the gate, and then it has been all downhill. And he looked great in college too. Like you see the college tape, the guy's like bulldozing people. What's the problem about what happened to him?
Even Singletary, you're saying?
I don't like watching him. He doesn't look like the same guy. Hasn't been quite as explosive himself. The offensive line's had issues though. I mean, to be fair to him. I mean, they were down like 4 guys at one point. So maybe that's been a little bit of an issue, but he does not seem to be the same guy we saw last year. And now the Singletary's starting to get more run. But I think the only reason I'm saying he's not going to do good is because I believe CJ Stroud's going to pass one every time.
Fair enough. I'll take that. But I agree. He does not look the same explosiveness. I'm a big, last year he was really good.
Right.
And this year it just looks like he hits the hole and dies.
Looks like just a guy.
Yeah, just a guy. That's the way to put it. But Carolina 31st against fantasy running backs, 31st DVOA against the run. So if he can't do it this week, if he can't do it this week, he's dead to me. So with that, audience, you got anything for us? Jimmy, you've been carrying the team. Yvonne, feel free to chime in. Anyone else? You got $10,000 left to finish your receiver and your flex. Ooh. All right, I'm going to trust Jimmy on this one.
I like that one.
Pickens.
Gross.
I don't know if it's gross. I think it's
good.
I
think you said I wasn't looking. I thought you said Pickett. My bad. Pickens is fine. Pickens is fine. Yeah, he's definitely fine. And Taysom Hill, I actually picked him up in season log in one of the teams I got. Probably going to start him this week. The volume is there from like every angle, so why not?
Yeah. They might even let him throw after all the car whining. But yeah, I'm with you. All right, this landed right where I thought it was going to land. That's why I didn't want to do it. In a perfect world, I would be taking Nico Collins right here. But someone took him. I'm not going to name names. And
I feel very bad for this.
I am feeling bad. Thank you. Glad you do too. I want a little run back, a little correlation in this. The highest point total on the board in this Chiefs game, and it's been Sutton. But for me, I am going to go Jerry Jeudy. And my point is he's finally starting to get a little bit of the targets and the receptions in the last few games. He's had 14 in 3 games. All he needs is one long one, and he's going to blow Sutton out of the waters. They're evenly priced. I'm going to take the lower, probably owned player this week. I'll take Jerry Jeudy.
Did you guys see Steve Smith just completely roast Jeudy? That was probably the best I got seen on TV in a long time. And then Jeudy goes out there and lays another egg just to prove Steve Smith right. And both these guys are probably gone too. I saw that pop up.
Yeah,
I would definitely grab Sutton over Jeudy. Like if he can stay healthy, big body, he's making plays on the field. Obviously, he's been pretty bad because he has Russell Wilson as his quarterback. Definitely doesn't help him much. So I think Sutton's the guy to get. If you're a team that's looking for,
I agree.
A 2A, whatever. Maybe Jeudy will reemerge, but I still like everything I've seen from draft day moving forward on Jeudy. Nothing really panned out too well for this kid. So,
but to your point, what makes him more valuable?
Sutton?
A big game. No, I'm saying.
So to get out of town, So maybe he tries this week. He'll try 1 week to stay on the field and be productive. But he's got the explosiveness. He'll cut one. And he could be gone for sure.
That's it. You can get more for him probably if he shows a little more.
I think you can get more for him just in general than
he's young,
right? Because he's younger, and I mean, people will still view that the talent level. Yeah. I'm not in on him. He was one of the guys Dempsey probably talked about this when he was on as well. A lot of times we end up drafting cheaper pieces of that. Where there's a little uncertainty or at least some ambiguity. And so I have tons of Sutton. Well, actually I have tons of Tim Patrick and then, switched to Sutton at some point after Tim Patrick was hurt. But I think, a lot of times the cheapest pieces end up being the nice pieces. That's why you get guys like, Nico Collins, Adam Thielen. You're waiting for the cheaper pieces of offenses.
Yep. No, totally agree. Hopefully, maybe he just shows up one week.
That's why I have a bunch of Dalvin Cook and no Breece Hall too, though. So it doesn't work every time. Not a guaranteed outcome, people. My disclaimer.
I got a tough decision, but I think I just sold myself on the decision. I got 4,900 left. I was debating between Downs and what he did. He's got that ceiling and Minshew has proven to be, fantasy relevant here, but I'm going to slide over. Saints defense worries me a little bit.
Worries me too.
Yeah, I'm a little worried there. So
I'm trying to talk you out of Downs. Try to talk you out of Downs before it gets to my pick, right? No, that's not.
You can have them. You can have them.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the safety here, and hopefully he finds the end zone. Give me Michael Thomas, and unfortunately for Olave, maybe Olave sits out because of whatever happened. I don't think he does sit out, but there's probably 20% chance. He wasn't drunk or anything. He was just 30 miles over speed limit, so he should be fine.
But really, does a Michael Thomas correlate to Chris Olave? Like, I don't think it changes.
No, I'll get a bump. Like if Olave's out, Thomas will definitely get a bump in targets. But yeah, I think you're fine either way.
I think Alvin Kamara gets a bump in targets.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not a Michael Thomas. I'm just not Michael Thomas guy. I mean, I don't think he's bad. I just think
we should all be Michael Thomas guys.
Yeah, you would have took Downs over Thomas or no?
Yeah, I took Downs the past 2 weeks here, so that's he was on my list. But no, I don't know, Jay. I mean, I hear you. Thomas is a safe play. Downs, he had to hit a 60-yard play last week to get his points.
Yeah, I was looking up, Kendrick Bourne as well. I think in that number, he's probably fairly safe. But I already got Stevenson. I don't want to get too much of the Patriots offense because that can definitely burn me. But I think my team's kind of balanced. I got no crazy guys, and just need Pollard and Ayuk to really show up. As long as Jalen Hurts, sneaks a couple in the end zone, that'd be nice.
All right,
Bob, man, you got the last one. Finish us off. Show us how to do this thing, man.
Hollywood.
Revenge? You going with the revenge narrative? I see what you're doing.
Not just the revenge, but the recent volume. I mean, for the most part, he has hit the double-digit targets, has done something with it. The touchdown upside is definitely there. We've seen it earlier. It's been a little bit, but mostly, I think most of his issues have been, kind of Dobbs has been diminishing, it seems like, just as a passer, but still like the anticipated volume and not necessarily against a good revenge narrative.
Dobbs better quarterback than Kyler Murray or no?
He's available. I mean, right now, I mean, that's, I don't know, probably not better, but like maybe, serviceable enough that if, I think we're still trying to figure out what the Cardinals' plans are. It sounds like they're going to play Kyler Murray. That seems crazy to me if I don't know, teams like, maybe the team wants to tank. The players clearly are not tanking. And to his credit, Jonathan Gannon, I can remember at the start of the season, he put out that like motivational video thing. And like every player in the room was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? It made me think of the Mike Tomlin quote, we want volunteers, not hostages. That looked like a room full of hostages. And they're not playing like it. They're playing like a group of guys who want to play. They're playing hard.
Yeah, they've been in most of these games, man. They've been in most of these games. If Kyler Murray's sitting out there, do you pick him up in the next couple of weeks, hoping? Or I'm not a Kyler Murray guy. I think he's like
I'm not either.
A level or two better than Baker Mayfield, but I don't think he's going to be great for long. But you think you go out there and stash him?
I don't think he's a consistently high-end producer. I think he is a spike producer who will have big weeks and thrill you, and you'll keep playing that spike week, and it'll be to your detriment.
I agree to that. Dave, man, we finished the draft. How you feeling about your team? You're coming off a big loss last week. I finally took you down. So what are you feeling now, man? You riding the Lamar Jackson, the Kareem Hunt play. I like that a lot. If Ford's out, good value there. You got the value in Douglas. Need a big game out of Judy. Probably get it out of Kelsey. Jaguars D, fan of that as well, man. So looking pretty balanced, man.
I don't love, I left myself with 5,700 and I was torn which way to go, but with the Judy Pierce, I'm not in love with it, but I felt like I've already got enough points where I wanted a safer floor here. It's not for GPP. I'm with Bob. I play Sutton more in a GPP. But yeah, no, I feel okay because of the key here is Denver played a flat game last week. I think they're going to get exposed this week. And if you remember, the Denver Kansas City already played right on Thursday night. And that was a weird game. I think, when you play one of those low-scoring games, I think the next divisional game tends to flip on the other side. So I'm happy I got at least 3 out of that game. That was kind of my strategy going in. Now, I will say that Breece Hall and Alvin Kamara were my behind Pacheco 2 and 3 running backs. So I thought those were 2 really good picks. And for you, Jason, Addison is just I don't care where he's playing right now. But to play Green Bay up there.
Very underpriced.
Yeah.
They don't adjust for like the Monday night. They don't have time to adjust.
Right.
They put
They
the
don't
Sunday
adjust.
night, prices out, and I was shocked by his performance. I didn't see that coming against that defense, and we'll see
One of
what
the plays
happens
was
in
kind of
Green Bay.
fluky, though, right? I mean, that touchdown to end the half was pretty fluky.
For sure. Dave,
Yeah,
looking at any bets so far? Any bets that you're looking at for the week? Anything you got locked in? Bob, any bets that you like moving forward?
I haven't even looked yet. I won't look.
Yeah.
I do the first half of the week is buried in the mundane
Waiver
work,
wire.
and then waiver wire stuff like that. Then as I get down into Thursday, I start paying more attention to those kind of things and start looking at my props and whatnot.
So like Bob a little bit too, and I'm a big I like to watch the market. I like to really look at the public plays and how lines move a little bit. Now, listen, if you're going to do that, you do want to get on some early plays and then maybe even, buy back. But at this point, you talked about tomorrow night. I do think Buffalo rebounds well. And I think they're going to be really,
I agree.
angered tomorrow. So I'd like the 8.5. I do. I'm not a big, heavy favorite better, but in this case, I think this is a good spot. If you remember when they lost to the Jets week 1, they demolished the Raiders the next week.
Yep.
So I think this is a similar script we have. Tampa stinks.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Dave, just get us out of here, man. Let's close up the shop. And Jimmy, good job, man. Jimmy, if you beat all of us, I'm gonna throw a prize out there, Jimmy, because you helped pick this fourth lineup. So if you take us all down, man, I'm gonna send a prize your way, man. So we'll see you in Discord a little bit later. But Dave, get us out of here, man. Let's do our thing and keep it moving.
Well, before I get us out of here, let me pass over to Bob. Bob, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I'd love you to tell our listeners, our followers, everyone else where they can, see your work at. Obviously, football diehards, but I'm going to pass the mic over to you for a sec.
I try to keep it simple for the peoples. And by the way, Jimmy did a great job. Those receivers and that quarterback, that's a murderer's row there. I like to keep things simple for the people. So footballdiehards.com is the website. The YouTube channel, Football Diehards YouTube channel. I do live streams on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday at noon. Ask me anything and I'll answer. I also answer correctly, like at 1 out of every 37 questions. I believe is the actual hit rate there. Also, the Football Diehards program on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio and on NFL Radio on Saturday nights. Do the pregame show on Sundays with Jeff Mans as well. So that's from 11 to 1. So listen to all those things and watch all my stuff and do all those things. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
All right. We thank you so much for coming on and being part of our Win Daily Sports team tonight. Having some fun. We do it Wednesdays for a reason. We have a little fun with the, lineups, start to just build it, start to get your mind thinking about the weekend and really where you want to get into certain aspects. Obviously, we're talking some cheap tonight. Love the Trey McBride, Demario Douglas, even getting in with that Texans defense. Very nice pieces there. And on the other side, I tell you the truth, in the audience pick, Bob mentioned it, the receivers, Dallas Goedert could come up sneaky this week. The Commanders are very bad against tight ends. So, that we're just trying to get your brain moving about areas where you can start to attack the slate, figure out where you want to stack, figure out where you want to run back. But as always, get into our Discord room. If you're not a member now, sign up. Discord's free. You can talk to all of us, myself, Jason, and many of our experts. Even Jimmy, who was picking today, is in there helping out every weekend. And as always, we'll have our articles out, our projection models. Sticks writes so many good things, but he also has the best projection model going right now that really helps us build our lineups. So with that, thanks for joining in tonight every Wednesday night, as we do here on Win Daily Sports. And until next week, may your screens be green. We're out.
Screens be green.